Happy New Year! This video is going to be talking about 2.5D, the style that just won't die. I have a love-hate relationship with it because it's not an easy style. Ironically, Godot doesn't really support it. Unity, ironically, by default, does support it because everything's 3D. But when you do this 2.5D stuff, man, it is complicated. It's hard to find good tutorials on it. There's an old video that I'll post at the end of this that shows what we did. Actually, I'll show it. I'll show it quick, but I'll post the full video later. But it's basically this thing, like how we made this. Me and Lewis, a long time ago, actually put this together. It's a really good file. But the thing is that there are limitations with this style that I'm going to kind of talk about today. But the good news is that this file still works. And let's see, can we play it? Let me see if I can. Oh, you can't see it. Why can't you see it? I'm trying to find it right now. No. Okay, let me bring it over here. Oh, I'm an awful person. There you go. See, look at that. So the thing is that the 2.5D style is a really cool style. It's beautiful, but it's not easy to do because, like I said, it's not as easy to do because it's really hard to find support for it. So given all that, this kind of update to it. Now the thing that's working here is it's basically like a texture, and it's like animating the position of a sprite sheet, which is really cool. And the only thing though is that transparencies have limitations, and I've hit these limitations. So even here he's got a transparency, and he doesn't know why it's not working the way it works. So I started today. I took about 3 hours of my life by accident, just getting into trying to help out a friend. Or, well, I shouldn't call a friend, a colleague in the Godot community on Facebook. And this is what I came up with. And I'm going to share some of my new process and talk about the old process. So the first thing that's happening is that it's not a shadow. This is a sprite in front of the torch. What's happening here is because it's reversed and it has a lighting effect, this is causing it to disappear. Unlike the way that we've set up the other file, right? So that's what's going on here. And so the easy way, I have that video, you can check that out. But the other way that I've been playing with is actually using SVGs, which are going to be like 2D things. Let me find this thing. Like it's a 2D version. Oh, and FYI, so what I did too is I got this from Kenny's Assets. So like if I go to Kenny's Assets, I basically took one of Kenny's assets. Like you can type it in there, and I took one of his assets that was 2D, and I took one of Kenny's assets and I basically broke it down. I made it smaller. So this is the original asset here, right? And I did my best to try to keep it as close as I could to the original, but there were some translation issues, which again, if I play with this around, I could fix it. But nonetheless, I opened it up and I imported it into Inkscape. And the reason why I'm showing you Inkscape is because Inkscape is free, and they just came out with a new 1.1 version, so it's more stable. And then what you can do here is once you're in Inkscape, you take the Inkscape thing, and then you save it as a SVG. So what I did here though is that instead of importing the entire thing, which you can into Blender, but then you're going to deal with the same transparency problems. I hit this right here and I made a SVG version of the file. It's not completely perfect right now, but it was prior. That's why this is the vlog, not really a tutorial. I do apologize. And I just put it over there, and that was that. And I just made this into the SVG. Now what I did is that because I made it into an SVG to import it, I then imported the SVG into Blender right here, and then I basically have different versions of this file to play with. So from here I imported and now this is the original one on the far left. But then what happens here is I try to make it with a texture, but as you can see the texture is completely off. So what I ended up doing was I made a path. So I went to object, right, and I converted it into a path. This is like a convert. This I can't see it now. Blind. I've gone blind. Well, somewhere is a convert here. There you go, convert to. So I converted it to a mesh, and so now this is becoming a mesh. You can see here, you can see that it's got all these triangles, but I can actually add a texture to it, and I did. So I ended up taking the texture. I did a UV map on it, which was really easy. And then I put the texture on it, and then I just added the texture to it. And then I exported it into Godot. And then I did find that I ran into a similar problem that happened with the other stuff. And that's simply this. So right now in my setup, I have two light sources. I have a red light source and a green light source. And the reason I have these two light sources is I want to show you that when I hide this light source, on the front of the image, you can see it's affected, right? And on the back, what's interesting is you see this light source, and when I do this, when I do this, it's being affected by the front, right? But the backlight, which has the same amount, which is green, is not affecting the back at all. So what this means is that because it's just a plane, it's not a full 3D object, it's only taking account for the front. So in order to fix this, and this is where I'll end this devlog, especially if you're doing a 2-point-D game and you want both sides, is that you're gonna have to make a cardboard-like mesh to actually be on both sides if you really want to utilize this style completely. And by doing it this way, you'll get all the benefits of like the 3D parts of Godot. Now, there's another complication, of course. In the other method, which is just a ping file, you can do, and if you're decent at 2D art or like pixel art, it's got a really good one-to-one translation, and you don't have to worry too much about animation. However, obviously, if I'm going to do it like this, where I actually have a mesh, I am going to have to start considering about simple animation or maybe even rigging, which could get scary, but it could be worth it. It could totally be worth it. That is it. That is the vlog. Again, this wasn't a tutorial. This is just where I failed and where I ended my failings. I hope you got a better understanding of Godot. Tomorrow, I hope, definitely tomorrow it's scheduled, I will be doing another video with Alex, and we will be getting into the whole student project thing, which is turning out really good. I'll be showing how to make a bouncer and doing some really cool stuff with physics. So if you want to look at how to bounce objects with physics, come back in like 24, 48 hours. I'm hoping those videos will be up. I'll see you then. Happy New Year.